One of my biggest pet peeves I have is using conditions as scapegoat for issues and not taking fully accountability for your actions, whether it be good
Yeah.
or bad. Do you think that gives
Yeah.
neurodiversity a bad name?
I think if you're pulling the card and you're playing your hand, you only get to play it once.
Right.
You're never going to get dealt that same deck of cards. You're never going to get dealt that hand again. So if you're going to play that card, be aware that it's not going to go down well. I've opened up and said, "Hey, look, I do have ADHD. I have it under control. I'm on medication, but yeah, I'm not going to use it as an excuse. If I'm doing the wrong thing, I am doing the wrong thing. I need to correct that." And that's the whole thing. It's a case of when you externalize the problem. Oh, it's not me. It's my ADHD. It's not me. It's my whatever it may be. You're externalizing it, which means that you're not taking action to be able to correct. I'm not saying punish. I would never say punish yourself, but correct. And with ADHD, it's ongoing corrections. It's that self check-in. It's a matter of being self-corrective. When you're going, oh, it's not me. No, it is you. You're ADHD. It's you. You know how to function. There are things that you can do. So, for example, like I work in the call center, so this might not work for me, but for others that have tasks in front of them, they've got something to do. There's a tool called Pomodoro, which is basically really great for anyone, regardless. But for ADHD, it's great. You can set a timer. This is, say, 20 minutes.
I've
I'm going
heard
to
this,
really
yeah.
focus heavily on my work, and then I'm going to allow myself maybe uh, 25 minutes, for example, and then 5 minutes, I'm going to allow my brain to just do what it wants, go where it wants, take a break, take a breath, and then another 25 minutes work, and then take a quick mental break. And it sets the timer so you can do that. So if you're working on tasks or something like that, it's really good to do that. You control it, don't let it control you.
Very good words shared. And to quote Tony Robbins, I want to believe that it's your decisions, not conditions, that determine your destiny.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'll take a little bit of side edge on that. It's a
oh,
case of your destiny is not real. Yeah, it's affected by your conditions, and it is. Not everyone's going to win the race, and this is the horrible thing about the world that we live in. Your destiny is affected by your conditions for sure, but you can't let them control you.
okay.
You can do your best. Put your best effort out there. Look, something good will hopefully happen, but you can't guarantee it. You've got to control it. And that I agree with. You need to be able to go and make adjustments, make allowances for it for sure. You know, to make your choices knowing that, okay, this is the condition I have. These, I can control this. Some things are going to happen. I need to be able to deal with them and correct as I go. But it does have an effect. Look, my career would have been something completely different if I didn't have ADHD.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Okay.
I wouldn't be where I am at the moment. I'd be elsewhere. I'd be functioning. I'd be neurotypical, and yeah, my life would be completely different. So it does have an effect, but I think being able to control it, taking ownership of it, and correcting, not punishing, is the best thing you can do.
Definitely, Geoff. I don't want to counter the misconception part that you mentioned earlier about
Mm.
talents and geniuses, but I want to shed some light on the success stories. We have an abundant amount of success stories in this world that people have overcome in the most extreme
Yeah.
circumstances that we can ever imagine, and still
Hmm.
exceeded in their respective field. Through my research I did in the lead up to this episode, I was astounded to see the amount of public figures that fall into the ADHD category,
Hmm.
and still overcame that through those learning challenges at school, went on to become stars in this world, such as Justin Timberlake, Michael Phelps, Channing Tatum, Johnny Depp, Ryan Gosling, Will Smith, Jim Carrey, and Michael Jordan.
Yep. Also, Richard Branson,
Wow, he created Virgin Airlines.
Virgin. Yeah.
Incredible,
Yeah.
incredible.
So, it's. there are pathways to success, and like these are guys that have, taken control of their condition. They've worked out ways in which they can, I wouldn't say, look, possibly incorporate, but be able to manage their conditions and everything like that. So it's not. It's like I said, we're normal people. We're not extraordinary. It's just that we're at the other ends of the bell curves. We fall outside the norm, and we're still capable of achieving. And this is something I would hope that anyone that has either been diagnosed or worries that they've got ADHD are able to do is go, well, look, I can take control of this. Well, I can take control of my life. I can make the choices that are going to help me move forward, and not letting something, it's not playing the card, but what you're doing is that you got goals, you want to achieve things, go for it. Don't let ADHD or any condition stop you from trying. It's going to have an effect, for sure. It's going to affect what you're able to do, what you can achieve. But at least if you're out there trying, you can say, I tried, I put my best foot forward. Might not have worked out, but it might have worked out. Either way, correct, don't punish.
That's all you can ever do. And the list I read through already had enough star power. But if there was any hope that if there was any hope that anyone needs to battle through and be the greatest names in the world, I've saved this list for the very end, Geoff. You ready for this one?
Yeah, go for it.
We have Muhammad Ali, Walt Disney, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Vincent van Gogh, Albert Einstein, and Leonardo da Vinci.
Yep, all somewhat neurodiverse in their own ways.
Household names that will be from generation to generation. If that doesn't represent hope, I don't know what does.
I don't think Einstein was ADHD at all, to be honest.
What's that, sorry?
I don't think Einstein ever had ADHD.
You don't
that
reckon?
Would not be possible. Oh, God, no. Definitely not. No, he was, genius level for sure. But to be able to do what he did and to be able to put that attention to detail into things, no. I don't think he would have been ADHD at all. Neurotypical, somewhat, maybe. Probably towards the hyperfocus area, for sure. But, not like, I doubt that he would have been. It doesn't make sense to me. But some of them, yeah. Yeah, Muhammad Ali, definitely. He was something else.
All work towards your strength. It can be done.
Yeah, exactly.
Can happen. And I love to hear these success stories.
Work with your strengths. Tackle your weaknesses. And just watch out for the threats that might stop you from doing it, and then execute that plan. Go for it.
Excellent, Geoff. I got 2 more questions, and then we'll wrap this one up.
Yep.
You've covered this in the episode, but for the sake of this podcast, hypothetically, if you don't know how to manage neurodiversity and you've gone through the abundance of thoughts and preventing you from success at this stage, is neurodiversity, can that be the devil in your life?
It can be. It's that thing where if you're not aware, which is one thing, and years ago I wasn't really fully aware that I didn't know it was non-neurotypical, to be honest with you. If you don't know, but the thing is that you're going to be feeling the effects, and whether you're suffering mentally, regardless of what that source cause may be, I think it's important to talk to a professional. It is good to have friends, it's good to have family, but I think you also have to have the courage to be able to go, I don't want this to be me anymore. And to be able to reach out and talk to somebody that is able to identify what it is, put a label on it. Because once you have a label on it, it's identified. You then have a path that you can go, okay, now that I have this, you're not labeled, the condition's labelled, it's identified. You've then got an ability to be able to address it. Without that, it's a struggle because it's something that you're experiencing. When you're able to label it, you're able to somewhat detach a little bit from it and analyze it and go, is this what I want? Is this who I am? And the answer may be no. I think that's the important thing. Ask for help. The help is there. Your doctor, psychologists, everything like that. If you need it, look, you can get referrals. Medicare subsidised referrals, 10 a year. Take advantage of it if you need it. The best thing you can do is be the best you that you are, but don't punish yourself if you're not. Get some help. Yeah. Definitely. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, you had me at putting a label on it. It's never been more clarity. Clarity is power, and once you realise that it's something that can be managed, you're no longer you're no longer alone in this world.
Well, yeah, once it's labelled, you know what, you can decide no longer to be a victim of it.
Yep.
Because when you don't know what it is, when you can't identify it, when you don't have something until that point, it is who you are. Once it's identified and it's labelled, you have yourself, you have the condition, and you're able to then address the condition, make corrections. You can go, okay, this is the way my brain works, it's having this effect, and therefore I need to address that. And look, definitely getting that label does do that because it means that you can identify it as something separate from who you are.
Yeah, definitely. I found, this is a bit off topic, but still in the same regard of labelling. I found when I dealt with the biggest troubles of my life socially, being around drug addicted friends and trying to assist them and wanting to do as much as I could, but part of addiction is being in denial about it, especially the stage that my friend was at. And once I read some autobiographies, in one particular sports autobiography that represented the same symptoms of addiction, that was clarity to me on a social level. It's like, wow, I'm not just dealing with this as an isolated episode of a friendship. This is a common occurrence across many walks of life.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And look, addiction is kind of a weird thing because the issue with addiction is that it is not the addiction itself that is the problem. It is the root cause of what's causing that addiction. What are you masking over? What are you trying to ease the pain of? And that's where that addictive personality comes into it, because whatever's causing that pain, the solution is the addiction. So, for example, if someone's experiencing pain from depression, for example, they might turn to drugs, and because the drugs provide a relief from the root cause. But because every time that pain surfaces, they're then looking for that same solution because it works.
Yeah,
and it has detrimental effects. Yeah. Look, there was a comedian who once said, look, the problem with drugs is that they make you feel great. If drugs didn't make you feel great, no one would do them. But there is a downside, and that is the ongoing effects. You're pumping your body your body with stuff that it's not meant to have, or it's an overflow of stuff that's not meant to have. And it has the detrimental effects physically, emotionally, in every way possible. And that's the price you pay for that addiction. You're not fixing the core problem. There are also biological things with addiction as well that are very difficult to overcome, but you've got a better chance of doing it once you overcome that core reason that you were doing it.
Yes, yeah. Regarding my friendship, it's a whole other thing to unpack that will be included in the book. I'd say, yeah, do what you can. What's that?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah, so am I. So I'm happy to get the feedback. And you did well, Geoff, because the problem with the drugs is that it pumps through all the serotonin and depletes all of it. And when you return back to your normal self, you're never going to feel as high as what you did when you're on it. So you always wanted to go back to it, but the high is never the same as the first time. So you're forever chasing the dragon.
Yeah, there is that. And look, depending on what substance it is, there are physiological effects in the brain as well. Because sometimes it will fry them, basically. It'll fry the neurons. So some of the receptors can, and this is what tends to happen, is that receptors get damaged. The neurons get damaged. There's not enough chemical flow because the glands in the pituitary, pineal gland, other areas in the body that produce the juice that goes through the noggin basically can be reduced because of, oh, I've got an oversupply. I don't need to make any more, and therefore, like any muscle, they atrophy. And then the need for the drug then kicks in further and further because the brain's not producing it, or the pineal gland, pituitary gland, or the adrenals are not producing the chemicals that are needed. So it is a cycle, and this is where that negative effect has. Once again, some people are able to repair themselves, but it's that thing of once the brain is aware that I can get it from here, from this source, it does become that's where the addiction is. But it's pain that rises from whatever it's, from life, from wherever the circumstance may be, and the brain goes, that's the solution, and that's where addiction comes in. It's the treatment. It's the self-medication of pain.
And that's the real devil itself because it's all artificial.
It can be, yeah. It's look, I think pain is, whether it's psychological, physical, whatever the case may be, pain is it's nature's way of saying that ain't right. Go and fix it. Find out what's causing it. Find a label for it if you need to. Find a way of dealing with it. But it's a case of correct, don't punish.
Yep.
And I think that's something, I'm a big believer in. Anyone makes a mistake around me, I'm not going to punish them and go, hey, here's how we can fix it.
Yeah, we're part of the solution.
Yeah, exactly. Look, humans tend to be problem-solving creatures. We've developed tool use, all that sort of stuff. We love a problem. Our minds are really, really good at problems. We love a problem, but we love to be able to solve the problem. We like to be able to fix it. And some problems are very difficult to fix because we're in the midst of being in it, feeling it, not understanding it, getting another pair of eyes to be able to identify it, label it, and help you work through it is the important thing. And look, anyone that's suffering, anyone that isn't in the place that they want to be, talk to family, talk to friends, and talk to a professional that can help.
Geoff, you have just set this up really well. I didn't think I'd pop this in, but here we go. Why was the maths textbook so depressed?
Why?
Because it had too many problems.
Oh, God, that's just, that's actually good but bad at the same time. No, well done. You've made me groan again. That's still as bad as the checkmate one. Not a worry, Luke.
One last
Been
question.
Good to chat.
Very good to chat, Geoff.
Yep.
I have one final question for you, and I would love your advice because everything we've talked about, problems and all, I want to be part of the solution going forward in the next generation. And I am an aspiring teacher's aide. I will be studying certificate for education support next year for 18-month.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. 18-month part-time course, something I felt like I've always wanted to do is to help the next generation. I've done it in different ways through my own volunteer work. In this case here with the teacher's aid course, I'll be dealing with children directly who have neurodiversity and are in the midst of managing it. What advice do you have for me?
Engage. Keep them engaged because, look, from my experience, the things that I learned well were the things that I was actively engaged in. So find a way to keep them engaged, to keep them involved, find the solution type thing. If you can get an ADHD kid a problem that they're interested in, they'll find a solution. Believe me, they'll get hyper-focused on it, which can be good, managed, of course. But it's keep them engaged because it's the interaction, it's the physical sound sight that you want to be able to encapsulate. So activity sites down. That engagement, get them to express is also a key thing, because that way they're thinking about a problem, they're thinking about a solution, and they have to express the answer. And if they get it right, dopamine hit, dopamine hit. But it's that engagement, I think, it's probably the thing that really helps neurodiverse, and to feel a part of that process, because that way we're not drifting off. Our brains aren't searching for dopamine, out the window, or on the mobile phones or anything like that. We're actively involved, and that helps.
Well, I'll do my bit to be actively involved in the next generation to instill that hope to be part of creating household names as big as the list that I've read before.
Yeah, I hope so too. But yeah, keep them actively involved. And same for anyone that is, dealing with kids that have ADHD. It's probably the single best thing you can do is active involvement, because it takes them out of their minds wandering, looking for dopamine elsewhere. If they're at the bad end of the ADHD spectrum, then that's going to be difficult, where they're all bouncy and don't have the emotional or impulse control. That can be difficult.
Look, it's a challenge I'm willing to take, Geoff, so I'll be studying for the first 6 months, and then I might tell you this when we stop recording about my future plan on it, but
I can guess.
Yeah. How about this? We'll end this recording here. I'll press stop soon, but thank you so much for thank you so much for coming on board, Geoff. Sorry for the hour delay of the sound settings, but I've loved having you on and talking neurodiversity.
Oh, look, you've got them working better now, which is great, and without time frame stops. So hopefully it's going to be better. Yeah.
Yeah, great. You fill me in with a lot of insight and a lot of ideas on what I should do in my future career and how to approach it all. Been a pleasure, Geoff, and hope to have you back again soon.
Oh, not a worry. Happy to do so, Luke. Have a great one.
You too, Geoff.